What's up, guys? It's your boy GRC. This is Crypto in the Morning, live every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern, where me and Sam talk about, what do you think? Cryptocurrency. We love cryptocurrency, okay? Because why? Because it's first mover's advantage, and we never had that opportunity in legacy finance because you need $10 million to invest with the, there's lots of options, there's lots of rules, there's lots of regulations. They still can't even get on the Ethereum train. And now I'm realizing that we're just the new VCs in town. And we just don't have to go to college and spend all our money. College loans, biggest scam in the history of the United States of America. Just kidding. That's probably not true. But guys, it doesn't matter. We're talking about dodeca, and we're talking about near protocol. I'm going to focus first on dodeca and see how far we get into it. Because, Sam, basically people want to know if it's a rug pull, which, we can look into that as much as I can. There's a sacrifice phase that's pending at the moment, and I think that's what everyone's red flags are at, because what have we learned? If people can suck funds, generally, if you take a subgroup of people and you give them the ability to suck funds from another subgroup of people, a small percentage of those people will suck such funds, right, Sam? There's always a savvy little guy in the group, every subgroup. So we got to make sure, we got to look at everything. But this could also be an Alex from Hedron situation where I cannot stop buying Hedron. You understand? I cannot stop buying Hedron. Do you understand? That's what I'm telling you. That's the tweet. Okay? That's the tweet. Sam can't stop buying Hedron. Bullish can't stop buying Hedron. It's amazing. I love it because we learned. We got in there. We got in there and we started learning, guys, early. And let's go. We got crypto in the morning. Let's get into it. We got dodeca. I'm probably saying that all the way wrong, but we're going to get into it. It says it's designed to pump hex. Let's take a look, guys. Crypto in the morning.
You already know what time it is.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
We're gonna take notes.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
We're gonna take notes.
Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a state. Got me some hedge on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim ready sent me to show you the way.
D5 Pro.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
We're gonna take notes.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
We're gonna take notes.
Yo, what's good, bro? I had a awesome stream last night with Crypto Sloth.
Who are you, my co-host, Sam Stolt?
Bro, Sam, what's good, bro? I also have this epic slicer here, whatever this is called. It's a sword that was sharpened that I'm going to be putting up on the back wall there. I think we should do something cool on the show with this thing.
Dude, when I move
Sharp.
to Florida, you're going to have so much memorabilia for your background. I have like a fucking room full of shit that I don't even like. Now I just have like I try to make it look nice, but the samurai sword, what, Sam, I'm thinking about putting that samurai sword on a floating shelf and actually getting some neon on the back end where you can't see it.
You can't see it, like right there.
It
above.
kisses right over it, and then it's just like, yeah. And then you can stab someone in the face with it if they come
just in case. I like to stand at the front window of my house and just do this, standing there while people walk by, because there's a street in front of here, and then people walk by the street. I'm just standing there, and they look at me, and they're like, "What is wrong with this lunatic?"
In my jurisdiction, you would be arrested immediately for doing such an act, whether there were drugs involved or not, because they don't like most people. They kind of think you're on meth, so they're just going to be like, "Oh, he's probably on meth," but they'll be like, "No, that's just Sam." But anyway, Sam, we'll do a 5-minute recap of the last couple days for us, and then we'll get into DODECA, deflationary token designed to pump hex.
It's very simple. That seems a very, very simple read. I don't know how long it would take us to get through there, but
I want to talk the nuance too. Like, what if you were the worst person you could possibly imagine? How could you do this to try and scam people? Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to see, like, because there's a lot of interaction. I'm learning about liquidity in such an intimate way now that you really learn that market cap, total supply, all these numbers are stupid and they don't make any sense unless there's adoption, right? Unless there's adoption, then they come to life, those numbers. But in reality, if one person sells all of their position and they have a big enough position, the market cap goes to zero. So that market cap does not matter, guys. Market cap is a number that represents if the entire bag was liquid, and that is not the case. Okay? I mean, like, boom. That's right in your face. Like, it's not the case. If Elon Musk sells his entire position, market cap look different. Way different. So just understand, guys, this is a liquid. It almost feels like a scam, all of it, everything in this world, because it's like now that you learn about liquidity, you're like, this is just like 20 guys like jerking each other off, making fucking millions.
What do you guys think of the? What do you guys think of the sounds? The sounds are nice. Yes, they
Bullish
are.
is in the background with the sounds as always, guys. I'm not going to give us any updates on anything related to the show because I'm just going to leave that to Bullish so I don't make a mistake.
But
Sam, you were on a stream yesterday. Sam, we're all bullish on Hedron. Okay, you were on a stream yesterday with our good friend and VIP guest on this show, Crypto Sloth. What did you guys chat about? I saw the numbers, but I didn't listen. Tell me a little bit about your chat, maybe some things you took away from it, things you learned from the Sloth.
So, very intriguing conversation. I highly recommend if you are in the ICOSA Hedron community, you should definitely check that out. If you want to like learn from the expert in that community, even the founder of the project, Alex, refers to talking to Sloth about the projects because that's how deep he is into that and intimate nuances of just the different ways he's looked at it. And
do you see any holes in his young? I'm a young man too, so when I say he's young, we're all young, some of us. But do you see any holes in his game from immaturity in the market? And that's what I'm asking you because he's sharp and he's very emotionally detached to a degree. Like I feel like if this shit went to zero, he would still just be like eating breakfast and being like, "Hey man, we all gave it hell," you know. But do you see any holes in his game from not being around the market? I think that's what people come to at him first. They're like, "Oh, he's so young, he's still in school." But when I hear this guy talk, I see nothing but intimate, nuance, detail.
I mean, he's probably like 25 to 27.
He's like
or
my
something.
age.
Yeah. One of the interesting things that we hadn't thought about, he had thought about, I hadn't thought about. And when you think of, I'm a fan of leverage from fiat standpoint because it's been around for 100-something years and you can utilize that in an intelligent way to get wealthy. Crypto debt, I'm not so much of a fan of because there's inherent risks that are different in crypto. Like you could borrow crypto, and if that crypto goes up in value, then your debt just went up in value, right? Like that shit doesn't happen in fiat. Also, the underlying doesn't. If my house goes down, if it's $250,000 a loan and that house is worth $350 and now the house is worth $200, then my loan is not callable, meaning they can't force me to pay off my loan. Crypto, that's not the case. So there's a lot more risk in crypto with that. However, Hedron, right? We were talking about this last night in depth, has the debt feature, right? Where you can borrow the future Hedron that you earn per B share. And before ICOSA, that didn't make any effing sense to do, in my opinion. You borrow something and your Hedron could go have a 10x. That means you sold it to buy coffee or like, because that's basically all you're going to get, right, on $1,000 head stake.
And you want the money, obviously, so you're spending it.
Yep. So now it's a little bit different story. This is very, very interesting. Using leverage with Hedron that is very low risk. And I'm not saying any UFers should do this. I'm not saying anybody should do any of this. This is something that I will test out and I'll talk
Are
about.
you saying low risk because you believe that Hex will survive and that?
No.
Okay. That's good. Keep talking there.
So if you take a HSI, so you take your Hex, you put it into an HSI. So now it is staked into the future. Say you do a 555, right? Into the future. Now you can borrow or advance the hedron that you would earn, right? So every single B share gives you 1 hedron. Now, if you pull that all to today, and if you made, we were just running through an example last night, but you could make 3 payments on there. So initially, right, I do the transaction, I take the Hex today, I put it into HSI, I stake that shit. As soon as it's staked, I borrow all of the hedron. Immediately, as soon as I borrow all the hedron, I make 3 payments on the loan. That means I have 180 days because there's a 90-day grace period. I have 180 days from today before I have to make another payment. I can take that hedron and I can stake it in the ICOSA pool. Now, what happens in 179 days, right? Because you can pick the time length. What happens in 179 days when I have another payment to do? Okay. Let's fast forward. Now we're 179 days in the future. What's up, guys? Crypto in the morning here every day of the week.
We'll still be here that time, yes.
Yes. Okay. So in 179 days, what I do, I take my hedron out of that. I pay that shit off, and I just got some free ICOSA. I just paid off my loan, and I got free ICOSA.
Yeah, it's weird because you can stake your ICOSA. Like in the example of my staked ICOSA, like I'm earning lots of hedron yield on top of that, and I can do whatever I want with both sides of that. And if I just use one as a payment factor to wait, so I basically use that one number to wait until my premium's locked, and then I have the whole other side to do with what I wish. And it's all liquid. So if you needed it, you could take it out early.
And fascinating stuff like that.
Dude, if there's a 10,000X, bro, this system is going to get fucking insane, bro. What the fuck?
Because if
sorry about that.
No, you're good. Well, I don't care. I don't know if other people do, but hedron is going to follow the B share rate, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens to the B share rate over time? It's more expensive, right? So that means that
has to be
more expensive.
Highlight that. I'll highlight it for the new guys here. The B share is a rate which always goes up, and it's dependent on the staking of Hex. So when these stakes come out, the rate ratchets up. Therefore, you always have a little bit of a premium there if you wait longer.
Hey, your lighting looks way better today, dude. Like,
yeah, you know, I shut that window completely and like blocked it from all the sun coming in on that side, and then I set up my other light over here and backed it up a little bit. So I've been playing with it. Lighting's a little annoying sometimes because sometimes
the lighting looks way better today than it. Sometimes it's a little bit washed out because it's very, very bright. But today you nailed it, dude.
And sometimes I have a greasy face. Sometimes I shower one of these days. I jump in there and then I get a little washed up. You know what they say, but I don't use soap. Just let that water hit me.
Hey, but that's interesting tidbit that I've been doing for nearly 2 decades is I don't use soap either for 2 decades. It sounds weird, but that you're probably joking. I'm actually being serious. I don't use soap.
I don't do it strategically. More so. No, I'm just kidding. No, guys, I generally shower, but I know what he's saying. Yeah, rubbing soap.
I literally don't use soap, though. I'm not even slightly pretending.
You use deodorant?
I do use deodorant currently, but I might switch to not using deodorant in the future.
Well, your girl's gonna love it. So no, but let's get right into it, guys. We talked a little. We did our hedron pump. Obviously, we got to talk about hedron a little bit. But guys, we got something going on here, all right? And we're just going to take this from the bottom, all right? We're brand new. We've never seen this before. We're just going to read through it. No,
I didn't see any white paper personally.
Yeah, so there is some stuff about this coin that's not out yet. There is supposedly some like doxing that can't be done, which we always know is a hair of a red flag. Like for whatever reason, but we'll get to the specifics of that. Let's try to pretend like we're just random plebs that made our way to dodeca, deflationary token designed to pump Hex. You could think, wow, this one thing Hedron's working, maybe. Let's check this out too. Okay, we have a sacrifice phase. That's a difference there. So it's designed to pump hex, but we need your money up front. Okay, that's okay. That's not the end of the world, but that's what they're saying. All right. So the sacrifice phase is almost over. We have 8 hours and 32 minutes left. So this is time sensitive, very time sensitive. If you're here, this is what we call in the industry exclusive rare viral content. Okay. No, but so let's go down a little bit, Sam. I'm going to read and I'm going to stop and I want you to.
I want to highlight just because there's on the site and we're saying that it's 8 hours away. I'm not sacrificing. I haven't talked to GRC about this. I bet he's not sacrificing. I haven't talked to Bullish about it, but I bet he's not sacrificing. We're not trying to encourage you to sacrifice on this by any stretch of the fucking imagination at all. Like, don't, do your own effort research. Definitely not. I'm not saying this is a good thing or a bad thing. There's very little data on their website.
And I'm usually the sacrifice guy, which sacrifice for most of everything. But this one I have no idea about. So yeah, I don't think I'll be sacrificing for this one.
I just wanted to highlight that.
Well, they're using a lot of scam tactics here, which are not illegal and they are not necessarily bad. But unless I have the guy in front of me get to have a coffee or at least to have a stream or to be able to interact with them, because I could tell a snitch from fucking a mile away.
And also just for transparency, I and GRC both reached out to them to come on the show. No word from them. So if you're watching this and you want to come on the show after we review this, please reach out to one of us.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And we're not saying you were dodging. We don't know where you live, but just get back to us if you can on that. Because if you don't, I'm going to tell everyone this is a ginormous scam. Okay. No, I'm just fucking with you. True DeFi. Okay, so about DODECA. About DODECA cryptocurrency, True DeFi. All right, guys. We know lots about True DeFi in this chat. Biceps in the chat, by the way. Dodecas. I'm going to just say Dodecas now. Dodeca's code is complete and immutable. It has no off switch and absolutely no admin keys. Dodeca has no middleman, no roadmap, and no promises. Oh, I see what they say, like no written roadmap, and no promises. You are in control and in charge. But I need your money first. You always keep complete control of your private keys while using Dodeca. Dodeca incentivizes, guys, you got to update that. Incentivizes price appreciation by distributing holders a dividend in hex. Come on, man. This is on the front page, my guy. I'm a freaking pleb. You're not allowed to you can't, there's gym rats reading this stuff. They're going to gloss over that. Tokenomics. Dodeca will launch with a total supply of 3.69 million tokens in forever deflationary after launch. So guys, what do we know about forever deflationary? It doesn't fucking matter unless it has adoption. Period. End of story. I don't have to double back on Sam on that one because that is just as factual as it can go. You need people. If I have 11 pieces of shit on the ground with a bow tie on it, no one else in the street has shit with a bow tie on it. Sam, you want it? I just sold one for $100. That means the market cap's fucking 1,000, baby. Let's go to the moon with it. Oops. That's how it goes, though. That's how it goes. So watch out. But I'm not saying that's bad either. That could be a pumpamental if the person behind the project uses it.
This person could actually be a gym bro. Because if you look at the name here, what is it? DODECA. What does that sound like? It says dodeca. If you guys are not sure what that is, it is a steroid. So this person could be a gym bro.
Steroid too.
And coming out with a cryptocurrency, and he's telling people to dodeca. Dodeca, just like crypto.
And fun fact, this is the kind of private group stuff, but I love to throw it in there just to make all you gym rats buckle at the knees. You can get Deca Durabolin from your doctor. Let's go back to the show. Wow, that's just quick alpha for them, for those people. Like, you want Deca Durabolin? You can get it from a white suit. What? That's alpha, baby. Let's go on. Dodeca is designed to punish traders, Sam.
Oh,
you're going to punish them.
You're spanking them.
I'll show you my twerk video, and you can punish me, bro. dodeca holders who hold 369 or more dodeca tokens will receive hex dividends. Should we click on the advanced tech specs?
Well, let's go back and finish reading the why
Okay.
first, and then just that way we'll finish out that third column. Why dodeca?
You can read this one, and then we'll.
Oh, this must be a good one. Why dodeca? Go ahead. You can read through this on why to dodeca.
What I will do dodeca because I want my joints. I mean, dodeca was designed to help pump the price of hex and enrich the hex community. The more dodeca transactions that happen, the higher the hex price goes. Similar to hex T-shares, owning a dodeca is like owning your own hex mining rig. You wake up every morning with more hex. The main dodeca smart contract is quite simple and will be completely open source. It better have a solid base layer before future smart contracts can be added. Sam, can you talk about that last 3 paragraphs right there? It was a little bit salady.
It's the next page where it says that button in the middle, advanced tech specs, will kind of explain how it works a little bit. But
Fantastic.
We had somebody on the other day who does not have a high opinion of tokens that have taxes on them, right, and don't have any utility on them. We had Jesse from Liquid Loans on the other day. He does not have a high opinion of tax tokens, and this is effectively what this one is, right? Like you have tax tokens like what was that we were talking about? A Cult, right? Cult has a tax token that's a fraction. It's almost 10x lower than this here, but they have a purpose, right? They're serving a greater purpose related to the ecosystem in general, where that is the essence of what they're doing. Here, it's just like you try to get plebs or somebody to trade on this token, and you're charging them 3% of every single transaction. We'll get into the semantics here of how this actually works.
David Feeder, a trusted VIP of the show, says this is a SafeMoon fork with a tax that buys hex and pays it back as a dividend. Sam, what do you think about that? Just as a broad statement in a perfect world.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of volume.
I said a perfect world. He said there's not going to be a lot of volume. No, I know what you're saying. No, I know exactly what you're
saying. Who's gonna trade this thing when you can? Why get every single trade? You're basically adding a transaction cost. So you got to pay an ETH fee, you got to pay a Uniswap fee, and then you got to pay a 3% fee on top of both of those fees. No, why would anybody who's fucking used their gray matter use this? I don't know.
Well, I don't want to be 100% conclusive on anything, of course, in crypto, guys. There,
could be 100% wrong, right?
There's always that 1%, and we'll probably figure that out rather quickly. So you don't have to stress. Like, believe it or not, guys, we actually continue to read. Like once we read the first time, sometimes, and then you get like more info. It's really cool. But anyway, so the point is, guys, when you're looking at all these coins, this whole 8 hours left in the sacrifice thing, ignore it, please. You cannot, if they're trying to time sensitive you into something that's this important, I have a feeling they're not doing it because they want all the smartest guys to get in first. So, Sam, do you kind of see what I'm saying? Like, doesn't it seem like it would be an easier way to like get low-hanging fruit? Because guys like us are really going to need a little bit more time. I mean, come on, please. Like, and I'm not saying
there's no white paper. That's how simple this is. There's nothing like related. At least I didn't see anything when I was looking for it.
Is there a reason you can't write a white paper without doxing yourself?
No.
Okay,
you could write a white paper and
yeah, you could just post it, write white paper, and then people are like, "Oh, you didn't sign it," and you're like, "I don't want to be doxxed." That's what you would probably do.
Bitcoin,
correct?
Right?
Yes. So the nerve, they said it was better than PZen. I don't know what PZen is. Volt DeFi tried it, and 10 others to reward you with SafeMoon to hold the price up and reward holders with 18% taxes. This is almost all BSC tokens. Yes, taxing. We know about taxes, but what if the tax is used in the proper way? That's like what, like, can't they use?
Well, so talk to me. What do you think is because everybody's going to have a different definition of what they think is a proper use for tax. What do you think?
Well, if they wanted their price performance or anything beneficial to happen with this project for more than 2 months, they would probably try to tend towards the product with that money, whether that was marketing or whether that was within the system,
Making
like
it
with
better.
buys. Or like buying it. Like, I don't know, do their devs all get fucking paid and shit? And they all like say, hey, this is a great product. Let's keep buying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of like in crypto, it's like who's buying first? And I'm gonna maybe silver, if this gets enough traction, we'll look into some of the chain analysis here, because generally, like we found with like Pulse Doge and stuff, when you look a little closer, it's like, yeah, it's just like a dude that bought $1 million worth, sent it to 300 wallets, and then started saying everyone had it. And that's what happened. I mean, that's literally what happened.
Really? That's what happened with Dogcoin for Pulse?
Well, yeah, because I mean, if everyone believes what Hex Luther put out, he put out like the chain analysis on the 300 wallets. And I didn't know if it was real. I didn't look into it that hard, but it was right around the track of what I thought would be the case. I just didn't know exactly what it would look like. I don't know the distribution method. I don't know the tornado cache, so it was hard for me to put together. But doesn't it seem like when there's a lot of like mystery in the background, like from so many different people, doesn't it seem like it's just a scam?
They know raise questions for sure if somebody's not transparent and doesn't provide like the detail around certain things, for fucking sure. Like having the information to make the best decisions. That's why I feel that like taxes for having, I want my money because I know I'm a better steward of my money. And if the rules were, instead of paying taxes, you had to give 20% to charity, like the government can't do that, because there's bureaucracy involved. So if somebody has $100 grand and they're paying 20% of taxes, there's $20,000. That means that, $4 grand goes to a charity because there's fucking middlemen up the wazoo between paying taxes and actually getting to a charity. Versus instead of paying taxes, they're like, okay, you need to contribute to a charitable cause for 20 grand. I'm going to be a far better steward of my money, getting value for my money. Even if I still had to pay $20,000 to a charity, I'd probably create my own charity and then do it that way. But if I wasn't allowed to do that for whatever reason, like actually getting value for my money and results with the money, the government is a horrible, horrible steward of dollars, right? Like every government around the world, you get to see, like, it's ridiculous. And to try to say that taxes are like a good thing is just laughable at best.
Yeah. And I just want people to be aware, like, they feed off of a certain type of person, these scams. They feed off of it's like I was talking about drug addiction yesterday with some people, and I said making the drug laws less strict in some ways, not talking about fucking weed. Like, they only give people weed felonies if they think that you're selling fucking. Like, if they think you're a kid on the street, they're gonna let you go. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, it's like there are people in this world, understand it, that don't care about the rules. They don't care if you will shot in the face in front of them. They will smoke a cigarette and make a phone call. Those people have always existed in this world, and they will prey in legal ways. And crypto is a very good way to not go to jail forever and steal everyone's money at the exact same time. What happens in both of them? They're like, make drugs legal. Make all the drugs legal. Make fentanyl legal. I'm like, go ahead and make fentanyl legal in Baltimore and let me know how that goes. Because I, you know what I mean? Like, there's going to be guys that make more stomped on drugs that are more potent, and they kill you faster. And all the depressed drug addicts will go there because it'll be cheaper. Does not matter what they do. Like, they're like, oh, Legacy's going to take care of drugs for us, and they'll just give it to everyone on pennies on the dollar. No, that's not how it's going to work. And I like the idea of the no drug thing, but I don't think it can be properly implemented in the United States.
Oregon, or I think Oregon does that, or like one of the cities out there in Oregon does that, where like weed, cocaine, heroin, steroids, all that kind of shit is legal. And I think they implemented it a year, maybe 2 years ago.
Not a bad place to implement, though, if you are going to try, because it's like open, I know there's big cities, but like there's also lots of like probably like suburbs and
or like California, because it's already pretty shitty as it is.
Cancerfornia, bro. Don't ever say California again. It's Cancerfornia. I only call it Canada. LA, Los Angeles County is the biggest shithole in the United States. And I can't imagine going back 40 years and walking in the heyday of that place. Wow. Just
Right, one of the best places in the world, probably.
You could hit the gym on the beach with all the bros. Everyone was ripping steroids, having a good time. And now you can't go down there without being in constant fear of being anything if you have value on you. Those break into your shit, steal all your shit. They don't give a fuck because the rules don't put them away anymore down there. They just let them out right away because y'all wanted less strict rules. But those guys have been killing for decades on end, and their families were doing the same thing. And there's criminals out there, real criminals. They want to do crime. They want to see people hurt, and they don't care because that's what they were lived in. And I don't think changing rules. And that's the same with crypto, though. To bring it back to crypto, it's like there's more technology. You don't have to go to school anymore, guys. Sorry, you don't. It's all on the fucking internet. Wake up. Wake the fuck up before you send both of your kids to fucking private college for $80,000 a semester, both of them at the same time because you think you're doing the right thing. Why don't you teach them about reality and tell them that you can learn all this stuff online? Because that's what the criminals do. They learn all this shit online and they make a fuckload more than you do spending all your money on fucking but this is a weird way where like illegal people can do stuff in like a half illegal way. Do you know what I'm saying with that?
Mm-hmm. Don't you think it's kind of interesting though that somebody like Andrew Tate gets banned or Trump, like if you actually understood Trump and you set aside your, emotions on that, just people who are trying to do the right thing and help the world and are helping all the things that they're accused of doing the exact opposite of, they're actually helping out. And those things are so polarizing or so popular because of where you want to call it the feminist movement over the last, couple decades or something, where being like a man is like a bad thing. Right, it's
great
like
penis
bastardized.
It's the great penis resignation. Like me and Sam are going through the great resignation with all the other men, and then all the lib boys are going through penis resignation because they have decided that they would not stand up for shit and they will regurgitate stuff online and pretend like they know what the fuck's going on when they've never done a damn thing in their fucking life. It pisses me off.
So enough on a tangent. Let's get back into doing
doing crypto show for a second. Let me start reading and then let's get into this just a hair more. How does dodeca help pump the price of Hex? Dodeca is a deflationary ERC20 token with the initial supply of 3.69 million tokens designed to pump Hex price and reward holders with a token dividend. For every dodeca transaction that is made up, 3% is used to buy Hex directly. So we'll figure out what the full percentages are, but keep that 3% in our heads for now. The more transactions on dodeca, the higher the buy pressure on Hex becomes. I wonder if it would be higher pressure than just buying Hex directly. I'm curious. That would be an interesting comparison. The more transactions on dodeca, the higher the buy pressure of Hex becomes. That's not all. The bought Hex the bought Hex is then distributed to all holders of the 369 or more dodeca tokens. This is meant to punish traders and heavily reward holders. The three main tokenomics on launch: holder dividends, 3% from every transaction is used to buy Hex and distribute to holders. So that's 3%. Buyback and burn, 1% from every transaction is used to buy dodeca tokens, then burn them. Liquidity lock, 1% from every transaction is used to add to the dodeca Uniswap liquidity pool permanently. There are a few clever ways to incentivize additional transactions with either additional smart contracts, exclusive opportunities, etc. When are the Hex dividends distributed? All dodeca token holders are distributed are automatic, no manual claim required. That's kind of cool. I mean, just in the general of, I like automated shit in general. There is no admin keys or counterparty risk. You will see more Hex appear in your wallet every single day. I wonder if the Hex amount would be only significant if dodeca pumps. That's going to be something I have to look at, because if they're banking on this pumping so that they can have the value later because it's working, it seems like an adoption play. Sam, what's your initial take, just right off the cusp? Like, you know a lot at this point, and you see all this stuff. What's your take?
I mean, $5 in taxes on $100, right? That's effectively what they're saying. We're going to take $5 out of every $100 in transaction fees as a transaction fee. Effectively, they're calling it a tax. So it's adding to this, making it so that the parties involved, they're basically creating themselves as the middleman to take something from every single transaction. And 5% is a lot for a tax, in my opinion. In crypto, that's a lot. 5%. You're going to take 3%. You're going to give it to dividend holders. You're going to take 1% and buy and burn it. You're going to take 1% and put it into a liquidity pool. I don't know how, like, you're just hoping that you're just hoping that certain people will utilize this coin, because anybody who actually understands the coin is not going to do this, right? So who are going to be people who would actually trade this coin?
It would be lower volume investors,
or people who just don't have any effing idea what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, which would, you would think, just from like the time in the market, like it's going to be people that haven't, in my opinion, it's just going to be people that don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna have any effing clue what they're doing or what's going on, and then they're gonna get taxed 5%, maybe not realize it, or then realize it and then get out and never use that again because they realize that they're getting taxed 5%. I don't know why anybody
would slippage and then fees, and then you're at 10%.
5% they're gonna take. Uniswap is gonna take a fee. Ethereum is gonna take a fee.
You're gonna be at a 90% probably by the time you get in there, with a couple $100. And I mean, that's not the end of the world, but at the same time, I mean, we have products that don't do that, and they just earn yield forever. So like, I'm just hard on finding the play here. I'd be curious to see when this was actually written or designed or thought about, to see if it was before or after Icosa. Doesn't Maxi do this already?
Well, let me ask you a question. You've got dodeca token here. You can put $1,000 into dodeca, or you can put $1,000 into Hex, and you're going to not look at that shit for 36 months. Which one are you going to put?
Never a chance in hell I'd do it.
Exactly. Like, what?
I wouldn't even think about it. But like, we're pretty like, again, you gotta, some people do design coins that aren't meant for everyone, but in this case, when it comes to an adoption coin, it's just like, I'm going to give it the big pass for now. Like, I'm going to pass on that. And if they prove me wrong, just like I said about PLSD, like if PLSD outpaces Hedron, I will get a very small Pulse Doge tattoo in the next year. Like, I
gotta veto this. No, you're not. I don't give a fuck.
I'm not.
That shit moons. You're not.
Keep it moving. But you know what I will do? No, instead
you put
of
it
that,
on your cheek.
Instead of that, I will.
I love encouraging bad behavior.
How about this?
I'll give you a temporary tattoo. I'll print a temporary tattoo. How about that?
How about I have Hex Info come on? Whenever we're having this Bitcoin Pulse Doge situation where there's staking involved. Hey, if they're going to add staking, I'm probably going to cover it. Period. Like, I want to check it out, and that doesn't exist yet. So hold your panties in a bunch. I've been 100% honest, 100% transparent, and 100% kept my stance the same way the entire time, and I still feel that way today. And the reason that I kind of talk shit on it is because all those guys are plebs, and they're annoying, and that's it. And it had nothing to do with but I like Hex Info. Like, I want to have Hex Info on the show. I want him to talk his piece. I think everyone thinks that, like, I hate all these people, but in reality, I'm just trying to get the point across that, like, I'm trying to get the point across. So emphasizing it a little bit makes a difference. When you see stuff like Pulse Doge, Sam, do you have the same initial reaction as I?
Well, I would actually, if I'm like, okay, dodeca token that we just looked at, or the Pulse Doge coin, neither one of those are like super appealing to me. I don't see like a long-term value prop for either one of those. I don't see either one of those sitting around like in 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. Like, I think we're going to have a transition where I feel like it's already happening, where we shift more to utility, right? Where things have more utility to them. If Dogecoin comes out with a staking feature, right, that is cool in some fashion or way, right? Maybe that seems like a more appealing to me. There's no taxes on that thing, right? And it was just, I liked the way that it was distributed to people, right? They were like, whales got less of it, and the smaller people got a larger proportion relative to their bag size of it. I liked the way
If
that it
you
was
were building this
distributed.
coin and you were a nefarious actor, would you set up 300 accounts and stake hex on each of them for the minimal required?
For Dogecoin. I mean, if I thought that was going to behoove me.
No, you know already because you're designing it. I'm saying, like, if you were designing it and you knew you were going to be $1 price point, you were going to give it to everyone, and then you would just have an adoption play on the end of that. Like, would you know what I mean? Because in my head, I would set up 300 wallets and stake the amount of hex that would give you the highest yield, because it's not a high amount. The highest yield is actually a relatively low amount. So if you did that over 3, that's what kind of scares me too. Because
So think about that, right? Though, because it was distributed how? Based upon the
B
wallet,
share.
right?
Yes, yeah. Well, based upon how many shares you have on each wallet, yeah.
And if you can get it to sit at a high enough value, right? Dogecoin is like $1 or something, $2 or something, right? So if you have that split between 300 wallets versus one wallet doing the splitting, then I wasn't paying super close attention to Dogecoin because the meme things are not super interesting to me, unless you can stake them and make money in other ways on them. And if I set up 300 wallets, then from my understanding of how the distribution took place for the Dogecoin, I would actually receive more Dogecoin because I set up 300 wallets. Is that what you're kind of getting to effectively? Yes.
Because you wouldn't, if you do it all in one wallet, you just get milked out by the premium that they made for having too much in each wallet. So in my eyes, if I had $1 million in hex and a state coming out for 100 grand or 200 grand or something, and a lot of these guys do, what would I do? I would set up 300 fucking wallets, send hex to each one of them, wait for the coin to come out, and then pretend they were separate accounts. And I would just dump it while I fucking pumped the shit out of it. And it would just be a slow thing. And then I would just hope to God that adoption took off. You know what I mean? You can only pray to the gods at that point, but then you can add stuff on top of it where it gets a little stickier.
So I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing necessarily, because in any system, doesn't matter what it is, like taxes, for example, I can get away with not paying a lot of taxes because I understand a lot more nuances of the system that's called taxes here in the United States, right? That allows me to reduce my tax bill versus somebody who doesn't. So the more nuanced detail you have around a system, you're going to always have players that go through and utilize that or maximize that to their best interest, right? So if I'm coming out with a token and I'm going to distribute it in this fashion, and I would like a portion of that, I would say but I would probably just do it out front. I'd be like, hey guys, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to try to collect as much of this thing as I want. It's going to be launching in this date. I'm taking mine and I'm splitting it up into 300 separate wallets.
But maybe I'll do 600. It takes weeks for people to understand that concept and Polstode intimately enough to be like, okay, I got to start making wallets. You know what I mean? But they knew this shit long ago. So it's that you were saying like, hey guys, like this is the shit that's happening. And then you would just get on with it. But that's not really how it went down, because it takes these guys and us. First, we have to trust that this isn't a fucking scam and that we're not going to lose all our fucking money by even clicking on the thing. And then we have to go through and say, who's behind this thing? Is it real? Do I know enough about the code? Do I know enough about shit? Then you have to go through and be like, so who are these founders? Oh, wait, they scream that they're trying to make everyone trillionaires online all day long. That's weird. Okay, so all three of those things together just put a bad taste in my mouth. So it is a combination of things. You could do all of this in the exact same way and not scam people. And I'm not saying these are scams at all, but I'm saying like you could take Hex and scam the world with it, or you can take Hex and change the world with it. You know what I mean? So really, we're just talking about good men versus bad men. And I bring this up a lot with like the rules in the country as well. Like those bad men will always exist. They are constant in the world we live in. They stay. People stay getting their heads chopped off forever, forever. It never changes. But the tools that they can use to be more powerful and more manipulative are only growing because now we have the internet. Back in the day, they had to figure this shit out when they were talking to their buddies. Like now it's just like, oh, guys, we can just sit at our asses and make a YouTube video, shoot a couple people, not get caught for it. Everyone will think we're badasses. And so it's just like, I think there's a lot. It's good men versus bad men, and we need more good men.
Yes, I agree. We definitely need more good men, more leaders here. There was a question in the chat here from Nan that I wanted to touch on. I like your logo, bro. That's a cool bowl that you got there. Hey, Sam. Next video on LP. Question, though. What happens when the initial quantity of ERC 20 pairs are different when removing LP? I know you can buy some back to recover initial quantity, but what about price change? That is called an impermanent loss, my friend. So if that is a concern for you, then just don't do it. You have, say if you put in, you know, 1 million hacks or 10,000 hacks or whatever it is, and the equivalent amount of USDC or Ethereum or Maxi or whatever your prerogative is, and you're now in all of the other pair or in a portion. You started off at 50-50, which, by the way, for those of you who don't provide liquidity, 97% of the time you're not starting at 50-50. You're starting at some other ratio, whether it's 70-30 or 48-52. You're
generally depending on your bag size, like with the, because like, you know what I mean? Like if you have a lot of one asset, you could more easily hold more, because not everyone has a boatload of 2 assets, but more people would have a boatload of 1 and then have other assets as well. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. So if like what you're saying, if you have like, you know, 10 to 1 of 2 different assets, you have 10 times as much in terms of dollar value of one coin versus another coin. You can set it up so that you put in a range that allows you to do 10% of one token and, you know, the rest of 90% in the other token. And if it moves out of there, then you're just going to all be in one of those tokens. And that, or if you have the belief, for whatever reason, based upon your reasoning, your research, your understanding of the market, that you think it's going to move in a different direction, you can set it up so that you can do that 10 and 90, right? This is what I did with the Hedron, because I understood what was happening with Hedron before the launch. So I set it up so it was all on one side, and I knew that it was just going to trade through that range, and I'd end up in the other token on the other side. So you can set up all these things. If you're concerned about the total quantity of it, one way you can think about it is the like different bags for different things. So you could set up a separate wallet that is just LP. So that idea with the LP wallet, and it's, you do whatever's right for you. But you can set up this bag. Okay, I'm going to have 50 grand, $10,000, $2,000, whatever it is in the LP bag. The objective is the LP bag is to pull 50. You could do something like 50%. You're going to pull 50% of the fees every time you pull fees, or it goes outside of the range. And those 50% of the fees are going to go into more of ticker symbols that you like, and 50% are going to get reinvested. Or you can say, okay, every time it's above a certain dollar amount, you pull fees from the pool. I'm going to put 10% into USDC. I'm going to put 10% into some other coin that you like, and I'll put 80% back in, right? There's no right way or wrong way to do it. If you have like an initial quantity of 5,000 tokens, and after adding it to a bag with an equivalent amount of some other token, you're left with more of the other token, or vice versa, and you only care about the quantity of tokens involved on the one half of it, then LP might not be the best thing for you, because that's what you care about, right? If you only care about the quantity of tokens in one side of it, then it might not be the best thing for you to do then.
Yeah, definitely. If that's your mindset, then there's just so many ways you can play it with LP. I mean, it's just, there's so many ways, guys, and you have to understand all these processes before you make those moves, because it won't make sense otherwise. You'll just have loose ends and you'll end up clicking out of it. You really have to understand market cap, why it doesn't matter, what really moves price, and what kind of funds do you really get from providing LP. Not all this horse s from people that have never done it, that are making other shit, that are saying you need $100 million or $50 million to even consider providing LP. It's the most ridiculous, ignorant thing that anyone, and I remember all those guys too. I'm never going to call them out because I don't care all that much and I don't hate any of the guys. But I remember closely what narratives people were bringing at the time, and I know that they weren't open-minded at that time. And that makes me realize that I have to trust myself more.
I can say what to hopefully help with his question, but hopefully this will be helpful for other people. How I am structuring this for my LP, right? So I have LP and I pull fees on there when, just generally speaking, I'll pull fees once a day. When I pull those fees once per day, I'm putting some of it into DAI, about $100 into DAI, about $200 into Hedron, and about $100 into Maxi. That's how I'm doing this. The rest of the fees I'm putting back in.
All right, enough. Too much. You're too good. I don't want them to get all clustered about it too. Sam has made a good portion of money, and he's basically DCAing with his portion of LP returns while he keeps that portion static for the most part. So, guys, and that is what goes on behind the scenes. Even Hexo, even the other guys are starting to catch on. They're starting to tell people to sell through LP. That's the first start for them. But then you tell people to sell through LP because it's safer. But then what really comes on to it is like all this DCA talk, Sam. There's so much DCA talk, right? DCA. But at the same time, it's like nobody wants to tell you that you can earn all your money from DCAing, from holding your fucking money over here and sitting on your goddamn butt. And then it's like, oh, shit. Okay, maybe I should not. Since Sam outpaced your entire career in 22 days of learning LP, you should listen to him, because at $450 a day, you're roughly at $113,000 a year. And
I'm doing more than that.
Yeah, and that's just I'm low. We're not, not every number, but like that's a good amount, right? $400, $500. If you really think about that, guys, this isn't weekends off. Like, oh, you don't get paid on the weekends at the jailhouse because you're at home. Nope, not like that. And you get to spend time with your children. Who would have freaking thought? Spend time with your children, people. Don't fucking harass yourself with work. Elon Musk is about to come out with robots that do your job for you anyway. And they're going to convince us to stay at home. They're going to convince us to put our VR goggles on, and we're going to go into the next land so we can make the economy turn around again. And we're already in a simulation, so it doesn't matter.
This is super interesting.
I want to pull this up, though, because Bullish put it below. I would like Pulse Bitcoin guy. First of all, I'm the fucking smartest. But second of all, these guys, I don't hate on any of them. The beef is over. I want them on the show. I said my piece. If unit bias FUD bothers you, then you need to find a new career. So, guys, let's read this tweet real quick. I haven't read it yet, so I'm kind of curious. I would like to sincerely apologize for causing hate or negativity towards any Hex or RH ecosystem projects and or GRC. My only goal was to bring honesty, fairness, and fun to the project. You could take the honesty part and erase that. No, I'm just fucking with you guys. I have to be a little mean. Come on. My only goal was to bring honesty, fairness, and fun to the project being built on Pulse Chain. I believe I am causing the opposite of that, which is personally upsetting. What did I say to them the whole time? I said, boys, your daddies didn't teach you about reputation. Right, Sam?
Well, I don't even understand. People love fucking drama, and I'm not even like in this.
I know, but if you were owning a coin, wouldn't you assume that everyone hating you would be bad? Everyone, but you're not popular or famous in any way, shape, or form in this example. You're just a random guy who decided to go on the internet and make a coin. It's not like you're RH and you already been twerking online.
Well, I think that because I haven't followed the drama because it's just not stimulating to me. But if somebody comes out with a coin and from afar, they don't know how to handle themselves in conversations just because they're at a different stage in life and maturity. Not that it's a bad thing or that I'm trying to say that I'm better than them in any stretch of the imagination. Everybody's a different point and gone through a different journey in life and had different opportunities to learn and took away from those things in the learnings, right? And if somebody's going through and just being like immature or emotional in the responses on a keyboard, like I don't know, just
it's hard to even relate to, really. Like I talk
me.
I talk a lot of shit online, but like I don't feel any of it. Like I mean, maybe in the beginning when I was just buying hacks, but come on, guys. How many people have talked shit about me and Sam since the day we wanted our biceps to be bigger than everyone else's? Everyone. Okay. So everyone, I can't talk for Sam, but in my life, I have been talked shit severely about my entire life. I got over that shit in like 7th grade. So you just figure out that you're doing something right if people are talking shit about you, but nobody can ruin your character. You ruin your character. You do. You ruin your night's sleep. You do. You can't sleep tonight. You got stress. You got anxiety. Something bugging you. Your fault, motherfucker. Your fault. Because when I get shit talked about me, I go to bed like a baby because I'm keeping my side of the street clean as a whistle. You know what I mean? Maybe I don't do everything right, but I don't keep fucking bullshit behind me that other people can attack me on and then blame the person for attacking me on it. Why is there no one so you got to step up, guys. You got to look in the fucking mirror for real. Not just like, oh, I know I'm a kind of good guy, but you know, I'm never going to tell anybody that. I'll never tell anybody that one thing, right? Sam, how many times did I do that? That was my whole life. My whole fucking life was me telling Sam I didn't want to tell someone something and him saying your life sucks until you do so. And
it was not only with the experimentation, but
everything.
It was with
everything, dude.
All of it, and girls and everything, like all of it. Yeah.
I couldn't admit it or look, even if it was good, bad, or indifferent. I'd tell some people in a random room about it, but I wouldn't talk to people that knew me about it because I felt ashamed because that's not who I was. And they knew that. And because they raised me, you know, people raised me. They saw me the whole time. Like they know what I truly am. And so when I was running around doing as much girl stuff as I could, or you know, that kind of thing, and or intravenously using not intravenously, fucking whatever, using steroids and stuff like that back in the day, which I really don't participate in at all anymore, other than doctor prescribed. I felt horrible because I wasn't admitting what I was doing. Therefore, I was ashamed. Therefore, it was a cycle of shame, which I created in my own life.
People do the same thing with stress. People don't realize they're like, oh, job is stressing me out, bro. It's your response to your job that's stressing you out. Whose fault is that? It's your fault. Your fault for being stressed about it. It doesn't matter what other people do. It's how you choose to respond to that. Oh, my wife is stressing me out. My kids are stressing me out. That's because you're choosing to respond in that manner. You don't need. You have the capacity. You're a man. You're a woman. You have the capacity. That's the cool thing about being human. You get to choose how you respond to stimuli, whether that's your work or your kids, or somebody tailgating you, or somebody driving slow in front of you, or your coworker, or your fat ass sitting on the sofa. Like, you're the only one who's stressing yourself out by not showing up every day. That's all. Nobody else is stressing you out but yourself. As much as you want to like put excuses out there and complain that it's this thing, or that it's that thing, or that it's somebody, or that it's something else, that's you. That's 100% your fault, period. On how you choose to respond to all that stimuli. That's it.
People will do it for years on end, and they don't realize that they're in an extremely, extremely scary position because they actually have convinced themselves they're doing the right thing. And that's the worst part, because when you're in that loop, it's hard to get out because you actually have lied to yourself and you're believing it. And so it's like, just look in the mirror, be honest about what you're doing. If something's bothering you about someone else, it's because of you. It's because of you. Like, no one bothers me. Why? because I keep my side of the street fucking squeaky clean, and I know I can always rely on just being like, hey, I'll take a nap and fucking forget about this. I didn't cross any lines. I kept to my word, and I tried to be as honest as I possibly could. And, you know, asking for money, doing things like this, making business, and that's a risk for my reputation. I'm willing to take that risk, but I'm not willing to take that risk on a hunch that Richard's going to make shit work. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Richard's going to make shit work, so let me just like pop on under this shit and like ride it. It's like, that's not really how it works. Those people get fed out. Those people are not ready to really fight. You got to fight. Like, and everyone had that fight at a different time. There was Hexicans that were fighting early on. And I always DM all my friends about this. I am so scared to sell out. I am so scared to sell. I don't think I will, because I'm at this age now. And it's like I still have the same feeling about it as I did when I was younger. But like, I'm so scared that somebody will put me in a position way down the line where it's like I make that deal and I just fuck my shit up when I could have just done it honestly in the right way. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to speak that into reality.
And this is, I think, a perfect ending here to wrap things up. If you guys want to check out some links down below, support on Twitter or on Instagram or on TikTok, you can check those out down below, or YouTube channel on LP that I did the other day, or Crypto Slaw stuff. And GRC, are you going on later today?
I'll be on today 100%. I'm not exactly sure. It could be like from 45 minutes, or it could be at like 5:30. I got a few people that I'm DMing, but yeah, I'm planning on doing a stream today. So I'll let you guys know about that on my Twitter. Make sure you're following Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube on all of us, and Facebook or whatever you guys use. We probably have all of that. We're stepping up our game here. I'm not giving the specifics away, but just know, be ready. I'm not chilling the show so hard right now because we got, you know, we're doing a little bit of a transitionary period, but we'll let you know how that goes. You won't miss an episode, obviously, Crypto in the Morning. And that's all you got to worry about, guys. Let's run it, though. Good to see you, Sam.
It's great to see you too. Great to see everybody here. Peace out, guys.
Farming with my stables in the decks. I'm holding IRA and never flex. I'm sticking all this shit on Everest. And I'm balling ECF. Farming with my stables in the decks. I'm holding IRA and never flex. I'm sticking all this shit on Everest. You see, the problem was these epochs. Now I'm printing daily, man, who need that? I check my APR on BFAT. And the regulation printing big stacks. I simple swapped it for some BNB. Took my shares and I made OP.
Was